Hi everybody, I'm Michael. I'm a landscape architect and I'm an environmentalist, and today we're going to show you how to propagate from a cutting a scflera Trinette. So, you ready to dig in? Let's grow! Okay, let me start with telling you a little bit about the plant. Scflera Trinette is a very hardy, drought-tolerant plant. It has these waxy leaves, highly variegated, this creamy, beautiful, creamy color, and it can grow in shade and sun. We actually have these growing on the west side of our balcony here. We adapted them to grow there. They can grow in shade or in part sun or full sun. You just have to acclimate them. And another cool thing about this plant is that, and that's what this video is about, is that you can make cuttings from the mother plant to make babies. Look at this. Look at this ginormous branch. This is going to be one of our cuttings. So, actually, and these guys, what we did was we did a plant rescue, and we'll zoom in a little bit later, but down over here, that hotel in the background. I'll zoom in right there. Right there, the developer of that hotel pulled out all their scflera Trinettes and just threw them in the garbage heap. And Diego and I were walking to brunch and we said, no. And we took some cuttings from them and made these babies. And then within about a year's time, these guys took off. And so now we're gonna make babies from the babies. So all you have to do to start is you wanna make sure you put alcohol. A lot of people don't talk about that. You gotta put alcohol on your hands and on your shears because you're gonna be touching the stock and where you're cutting, and you don't wanna bring anything that you may have on your fingertips over onto the plant. You don't wanna bring any pathogens in there. So obviously be careful when you're doing this, make sure you get alcohol everywhere. And we're just gonna start, I'm gonna start over here with this one. And you wanna get some to the woody area of the plant. So I found a location in here where I'm going to cut, and there's a little new growth starting there. So I'm going to cut here on an angle. I always cut on an angle so that raindrop water will drip off there. And that plant will just heal on its own. And now for the cutting piece, I'm going to cut off this node here and this node here because I want to save energy for the plant and its roots. So this one here is ready to go on to the next step. So what I'm going to do is just set it down and cut the other piece that we want to use for the procedure. And over here, if you zoom in, you can see a lot of these nodes. See how it's all woody, you all? This is a ripe area to be able to cut. So I'm going to cut right here on an angle again. And now rainwater will slide off of that, and the plant will heal on its own. Now we have this luxurious scflera Trinette ready to go. So I'm just going to trim a few of these off. These little leaves. Let the plant save some energy when it's rooting because it can wilt a little bit. But this is really a hardy plant. It can easily be rooted by cuttings and root hormone. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into step 2, and we're going to get the other containers that we're going to put these in, and we'll finish up the process. Okay, so here are the host planters that we're going to be putting our scflera in. This is in a planter that already has a sun hosta. And look, a little flower is coming out. Little flowers starting to come out. And we're going to be putting the scflera over here. Down in here, I used the stake that we're going to use to hold up the scflera to create the hole for that. And now, let me grab the plant. Here's the one we did the cutting just a few minutes ago. We cut off quite a bit of leaves here. I'm going to cut off a few more. Remember, always spray your shears and your hands with alcohol. And this process does take a little bit of energy out of the plant, so that's why I trimmed quite a few of the leaves. I may come back later and take a few more as the plant starts to get going. So what you want to do is your next step is you want to add the cutting some root hormone. And the way to do that is to simply get some root hormone at your local big box. Add the root hormone to the plant. Just get in there real good. Try to get in that cutting area. And let me show you the tip. That's a good amount. Now if you look down here, I'm also going to be putting root hormone. I like to do this. I like to put root hormone in and around the area that's going to go. And that way if some of it gets knocked off and we pull the stake out, I'm going to add some more. Keep looking down in there. That way, in case some of it gets knocked off, you get some more root hormone down in there. You want to have more. It's better to have a little bit more than less. All right, so let me just set that aside there for a second. And another thing I want to show you is that we use Super Thrive for our watering in. So you want to do 1/4 cup. This has a lot of hormones in it and B vitamins. There's 1/4, there's 1/4. So I like to put 1/4 teaspoon in a gallon of water and use that to help kind of zhuzh up the process. Super Thrive has been around forever and very helpful for getting seedlings and other plants started. So I just wanted to go over that little tidbit of things that we do to help with pruning. Now that we've got our water mix set up, we're just going to take our cutting, we're just going to place it in the hole, and we're going to push down just a few inches, and then we're going to let me add a little more root hormone here. Some of that came away. Tip. And then you just want to push the soil. You want a good loamy potting mix, outdoor mix. We've done some videos on that. You can check to see. But that's basically all it takes to get this guy going. You want to, of course, now add some water, but do it real lightly because you don't want to wash off much of that root hormone. Just let it sit there like that, just real lightly. We watered this planter the other day, so it's already got some moisture in it. But I usually don't like to pour water right on the edge of the cutting because it kind of washes off the hormone. And now we're going to take the stick to prop up our plant. And it's pretty much that easy. We'll come back later and put a little twist tie on there. But that's all it takes, y'all, to get this plant rooted. And then in time, this will even out, it'll start growing upright, and other shoots will come out and we'll get a nice bushy plant. So let's move on to the next one. Remember this guy. And I've already started a hole. If you look down here, there's a hole in here. This is baby sunrose, really pretty plant. Look at her, look at those flowers, right? And both of these were originally on the west side of our house. But because we're going to be rooting the scheffleras, we're going to keep these with partial shade so that because we don't want to shock out the plant as it tries to generate new roots. So prep a hole like this. You can just jiggle it around to get an opening, and then we just rinse and repeat like we did before. I'm going to add a little bit of root hormone down in here. And over here, look inside here, you can just jam it in there. That's how I do it. Nothing fancy, but most important, make sure you get that part with a lot of root hormone on it, the tip that we cut. And then you just bring it back to the hole we created, push down a few inches, backfill the soil. This had enough root hormone around it, which was great. And you can see that. It's pretty good. We also, if you zoom out a little bit, Diego, you can see this little guy here. This is a Song of India, really cool plant. You can do this. We just put this one in the ground from a cutting from our niece and nephew's home, Nicole and Michael, and we're going to have these two growing together with the beautiful baby sunrose. And this guy being such a large stock, we're going to have a stake like for this one as well to keep it from tipping over, and we will tie it together with a twist tie so that this guy does not wobble. Probably gonna have to do it from this side. Grab one of my twist ties. You want to loosely tie your plant together. I like to do it right at a node. If you see here, y'all, this way this thing won't slide up and down, and it'll keep it in place. Sometimes when people put a stake on a plant, the ties will wander, and sometimes I add a little bit of electrical tape to the stake just to keep it from moving around. And I think we got it. I may do another one right here just to keep it extra secure. And it is that easy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So I'm going to add water, just like we did with the other one, real lightly, like I mentioned on the prior plant. Again, these plants were already watered a few days ago. You don't want to add water right on the stem. You want to do it next to it so it doesn't wash off the rooting hormone. And you want to watch these plants for a couple weeks, because some of these may wilt, and if you start to see that, start cutting some of these lower branches off to keep the plant acclimating and growing. But it's really tough. You really don't need to cut that many more if you keep it in the shade. If you go out in full sun, then these guys may wilt real fast, and you're gonna have to cut off a lot of the leaves. Okay, now we're gonna cut away to the care instructions in a written format, and then we'll come back to summarize. We'd like to thank you for stopping by today, and we hope that this was informative. It's really easy to propagate scflera Trinette and the other scflera varieties, actually. So if you'd like to know more, just keep checking back. We'll give you progress reports on how these guys are doing. Until next time, bye.
If you found value in this video, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. We post weekly. Thanks.